Sénatrice Galvez, vous êtes en sourdine.
Désolé. Merci, merci Madame la Ministre pour être avec nous afin de répondre à nos questions. Merci beaucoup. The Global Mail identified at least 80 asset managers that receive the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. Meanwhile, Canadians, hedge funds with assets under management of at least 15 million have had their best year in the decade. Taimelo Investment Management, a CEWS recipient, saw of its fund post returns of almost 30% in 2020, outperforming the S&P TSX Composite Index by more than 10 times. Madam, did the federal government build a mechanism into their support that provides for the clawback of financial assistance that was very clearly not needed?
Madame la Ministre.
Merci, Madame la Sénatrice, pour la question. So I think it's important when talking about the wage subsidy to go back to first principles and for all of us to bear in mind how absolutely essential this program has been to doing what for me has actually been the core thing, the core economic job of the government in the pandemic, and that is maintaining Canadian jobs. The wage subsidy since its inception has supported more than 5.3 million jobs across the country. Senator, in your province of Quebec alone, the wage subsidy has supported more than 1.29 million jobs. That is really important. Now, I do know that Canadians want to be sure that there is appropriate conditionality with their money. And so one of the measures in Bill C-30 is a measure around executive compensation and conditions for executive compensation for companies receiving the wage subsidy going forward. Any company that gets the wage subsidy going forward and increases executive compensation above where it was in 2019 will have to repay the wage subsidy for that amount.
Thank you. The budget proposed amendments to the Banque of Canada Act regarding an unclaimed asset regimes. Last March, the UK Chancellor updated the central bank's monetary policy remit, and its target to ensure growth should now be environmentally sustainable and consistent with the transition to a net zero economy. The Bank of England will now adjust its £20 billion corporate bond program to account for the climate impact of the companies whose bond it holds. The European Central Bank is mulling similar move. Avoiding dangerous climate change is the only way to ensure the stability of the financial system. Will you move the amendment that the mandate of the Bank of Canada to ensure it assists the country in achieving its climate commitments?
May I begin,
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please, Madame la Ministre.
Okay, merci, Monsieur le Président. Again, let me give an answer in a few parts. First of all, I agree with you, Senator, about the centrality of climate action to everything that we're doing in Canada. And, you know, I think that, of course, this is, you know, if you will, a moral issue, but I welcome the economic direction in which you have posed your question, as have some of your other Senate colleagues. And I think increasingly we need to see climate action as just a pure, hard economic question, a question of the sustainability of the Canadian economy and the international competitiveness of the Canadian economy. So broadly, I agree with you. We all need to move in that direction. Every single sector, whether it is, you know, whether it is agriculture or whether it is finance. When it comes to the Bank of Canada, as Minister of Finance, I want to be a little bit formal in my comments and restrict myself to saying I absolutely respect the independence of the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada does an extremely professional job. Of course, it is the government's responsibility at the appropriate moments to review the mandate of the Bank of Canada, and we will do that, but we will restrict ourselves to those moments, especially now. I think it's very important for Canadians to hear and the Bank of Canada to hear from the Minister of Finance a respect for their independence.